Breaking tonight, U.S. President Joe Biden pardons his son Hunter. The extraordinary move, a stunning reversal just weeks before Donald Trump takes office. A blast of winter paralyzes parts of Ontario and the U.S.
It's like nothing I've ever seen before.
More than a meter of snow knocks out power and strands vehicles.
Hello, everybody. What's up? I'm Matty Matheson.
He's a chef, restaurant owner, and now producer of the Emmy-winning show The Bear.
He was like, can you act? I'm like, I don't know. I was just like, we'll see.
From the Maritimes to Hollywood, Matty Matheson's road to success in the Sunday interview.
From CBC News, this is The National with Ian Hennemanson.
And we begin with breaking news tonight. U.S. President Joe Biden has pardoned his son Hunter ahead of his 2 sentencing hearings scheduled for later this month, breaking a pledge not to use his power to help a family member. The pardon will cover both Biden's federal gun conviction and his guilty plea in a separate tax evasion case. In a statement tonight, the president said Hunter was singled out only because he is my son, and that is wrong. And I hope Americans will understand why a father and a president would come to this decision. Let's bring in Katie Simpson in Washington. And Katie, this is a significant reversal.
President Joe Biden had said repeatedly he would not pardon his son. And so, as you say, Ian, this is a major reversal on a deeply personal matter. Hunter Biden has experienced severe addiction issues and was about to be sentenced in 2 separate criminal cases stemming from a very dark period in his life. A conviction on federal gun charges and then a guilty plea on tax evasion charges. In a statement, Biden says he did it because he feels his son was, quote, selectively and unfairly prosecuted because his opponents, his political opponents, were trying to hurt him politically. He called it a miscarriage of justice, and he hopes that Americans can understand why, as a father, he did this. And it comes the day after Donald Trump made a highly controversial announcement in selecting a deeply partisan ally to lead the FBI.
Kash Patel, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks so much for having me here.
Kash Patel is a star of the right-wing podcast ecosystem, an aggressive defender of Donald Trump who has spent months calling for revenge against the president-elect's critics and perceived enemies.
We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice.
A former lawyer and first-term Trump staffer who worked in intelligence, this is the man Trump wants leading the FBI. He spread the lie the 2020 election was stolen and has railed against the justice system, claiming it was weaponized against Trump to blunt his political comeback. All key themes of Trump's re-election bid.
I am your justice, and for those who have been wronged and betrayed, I am your retribution.
Trump has made several controversial picks so far, most notably former Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, who was investigated over allegations of sex trafficking a minor. He had to decline his attorney general nomination following intense backlash. Democrats hope to stop Patel's nomination too, with some accusing him of being a danger to democracy.
Kash Patel's only qualification is because he agrees with Donald Trump that the Department of Justice should serve to punish, lock up, and intimidate Donald Trump's political opponents.
But the president-elect's supporters, including lawmakers in Congress, are downplaying concerns.
Donald Trump campaigned on reforming the FBI and the Department of Justice. So I don't know why any of this is, frankly, surprising to people.
I got to say, all of the weeping and gnashing of teeth, all of the people pulling their hair out, are exactly the people who are dismayed about having a real reformer come into the FBI and clean out the corrupted partisans.
Republicans have a majority in the Senate, so in theory, Patel should be confirmed. But his statements are so divisive, he could face some intense bipartisan opposition.
And Katie, Patel has drawn criticism from Republicans before.
He has. During Trump's first term, he tried to promote Patel to a senior role in the FBI. At the time, Bill Barr was Trump's attorney general. It was such a concern and a standout moment that Barr mentions it in his memoir, writing that when he learned about the possible promotion, Barr went to Trump's chief of staff and said, "Over my dead body." Ian.
Katie Simpson in Washington tonight. We are learning more tonight about Trump's surprise dinner meeting with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau from a cabinet minister who was at the table. It's part of an urgent effort by Canadian officials to stop Trump from imposing a punishing 25% tariff. JP Tasker explains what Canada offered to try to appease Trump.
Days after promising to impose huge tariffs that have the potential to cripple Canada's economy, President-elect Donald Trump sat down for dinner with the Prime Minister at his Florida resort. A hastily arranged visit both sides say was a success.
It was a very warm, cordial meeting, and I saw very much the mutual respect and warmth between the two leaders.
Public Safety Minister Dominic LeBlanc was part of the small Canadian delegation that dined at Mar-a-Lago, Trump's sprawling estate on Palm Beach. While Trump has called Trudeau weak, dishonest, and a far-left lunatic in the past, there was none of that sort of talk Friday night, LeBlanc says.
He walked us to the cars, to the front door of Mar-a-Lago. He said to the Prime Minister, keep in touch, call me anytime, talk soon.
Trudeau promised Trump more money for better resources at the border to stem the flow of migrants and drugs into the U.S., something that was well received by Trump, who called the meeting very productive on social media. Trudeau left Florida with a smile.
It was an excellent conversation. One of the things that is fairly unique about President Trump is how much he values personal relationships.
This former Trump official says Trudeau's visit was a diplomatic coup. It could help Canada avoid the worst of Trump's protectionist policies, he says.
And I think the willingness of the Prime Minister Trudeau to fly down to Mar-a-Lago and meet with him personally is a very significant move, and one that I think was appreciated.
This is the consequence of having a weak Prime Minister who's lost control.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre disagrees and panned the visit, saying it accomplished nothing. Trump's threat of a 25% tariff on Canadian goods still stands.
Normally, when a Prime Minister goes to the United States to meet a president, they're looking to make gains. What gains did we hear from Mr. Trudeau? None. He's just trying to limit losses.
Poilievre is demanding Canada do even more to stay in Trump's good graces, like deploying provincial police to patrol the border and getting much tougher on illegal fentanyl production. That last point is key. Sources tell us Trump raised fentanyl with Trudeau at their dinner, telling him it's a top priority for his incoming administration. Trump is planning a major crackdown on the deadly drug as soon as he takes office.
And JP Poilievre also floated a new immigration policy.
Yeah, Poilievre says there should be a hard cap on the number of asylum seekers and refugees in this country. He wants to tighten the visa system to reduce the flow of refugees coming here to file a claim. This comes as Canada is expecting a record number of these newcomers to settle here this year. Trump himself wants a hard limit in the U.S. Ian?
JP Tasker in Ottawa. The United States Postal Service has temporarily put the brakes on the flow of mail into Canada. The USPS citing the strike at Canada Post for that suspension of cross-border services, telling customers it will not accept any items destined for Canada. Also today, Canada Post says it presented the union with a framework it hopes will reignite discussions. The strike is now into its third week. Thousands are without power tonight, and some could be in the dark for days after severe snow squalls slammed parts of Ontario. Intense snow blowing off the Great Lakes dumped more than 100 centimeters across north-central Ontario. The worst-hit areas include the Muskoka communities of Bracebridge and Gravenhurst, which saw an incredible 140 centimeters or 4.5 feet, as well as Sault Ste. Marie and nearby Echo Bay. As Lisa Shing tells us, the snow closed a major highway, leading one town to declare a state of emergency.
After the deluge, the dig-out begins.
I've seen lots of snow like this, but all this all at once, whenever it does happen, it's always chaos.
That chaos, brought on by more than a meter of snow in some parts of northern and central Ontario. Tens of thousands have been without power for 2 days. Roads are jammed up, cars buried.
It was a bit of a mess. A lot of people were left on the side of the road for a long time.
140 centimeters of snow fell in Gravenhurst, now in a state of emergency, after the storm shut down a part of Ontario's second longest highway, hindering the work of emergency services. Dozens of people stranded in their vehicles were taken to local shelters. Many truckers are waiting it out in their cabs.
It's like nothing I've ever seen before. I can't express to you how important it is to get this highway open. It's our biggest hurdle.
Some Americans traveling after Thanksgiving, also victims of the lake effect snow, will be in for a treacherous trip. More than 100 centimeters fell in parts of western New York. About 2 million people in the Midwest are still under warnings.
I like it when it's not like this. I like it when I only have to shovel a couple inches at a time. That's where I like it.
People up here, when we get snow, everybody forgets how to drive, and it's fun to watch for being born and raised up here. I enjoy the snow. I love it.
These types of blizzards are more likely at this time of year, according to Environment Canada.
Especially in late November, early December, the atmosphere is ripe for this combination of warm water, lake water, and cold air.
Which means we could be in for more of this in the coming weeks as temperatures cool down. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Toronto.
Turning now to the Middle East, where Syrian rebels continue to advance in the country's north after taking majority control of its second largest city, Aleppo. The insurgents, led by an Islamist militant group, are challenging the regime of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, which has sent in army reinforcements to try to curb advancements. Syrian and allied Russian air forces launched intense airstrikes on the region today. A charity providing food to people in Gaza is pausing its operations after 3 of its workers were killed when an Israeli airstrike hit a vehicle they were traveling in. This is the main UN agency bringing aid into Gaza is suspending deliveries. Tom Perry now with the potential impact.
In Gaza, one more scene of devastation, a vehicle torn apart by an Israeli airstrike. Those killed include 3 workers from the aid group World Central Kitchen. You are stopping people from getting to people to help them, says Tara Shaheen, a friend of one of the victims. Israel's military says it was targeting an individual involved in October 7th. World Central Kitchen issued a statement saying it had no knowledge that any individual in the vehicle had alleged ties to the October 7th Hamas attack. The group has been hit before. In April, 7 of its members were killed, including dual U.S.-Canadian citizen Jacob Flickinger. The Israeli military eventually acknowledged that attack was a mistake, but there have been others. Save the Children says one of its employees was killed Saturday in Khan Yunis. The UN says more than 330 aid workers have been killed in Gaza since the war began. Meanwhile, UNRWA, the lead agency providing assistance in the territory, announced it was pausing aid shipments through the main crossing with Israel over fears of armed gangs stealing food from convoys inside Gaza, blaming Israel as the occupying power for a breakdown in law and order. In Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu faces pressure to stop the war and bring home Israel's hostages after Hamas released a propaganda video of 20-year-old captive Idan Alexander.
Benjamin Netanyahu called us and told us that he embraced us and is with us, with the family on this toughest time. And he told us that he's going to do whatever he can to bring the deal and to release all the hostages.
Idan Alexander's mother says the Israeli prime minister told her the time is ripe to bring the hostages home. But for now, there's no ceasefire with Hamas, no relief for hostage families or the people of Gaza. Tom Perry, CBC News, Jerusalem.
UN negotiations on a treaty to end plastic pollution have wrapped up in South Korea without an agreement.
Plastics are not convenience. Plastics are poison.
On the final day of talks, delegates from more than 100 countries found themselves at an impasse over whether the treaty should reduce the total plastic on Earth and put controls on the chemicals used to make them. While environmental groups are disappointed, they remain hopeful a deal will be reached eventually.
I think the silver lining is that more than 100 countries representing billions of people stood up for the type of treaty that will reduce plastic production.
Negotiators have agreed to continue the treaty talks next year, but haven't yet firmed up plans. A Toronto man is facing charges tonight for allegedly posing as a cosmetic surgeon and injecting at least 4 women with what they believed was Botox and Ozempic.
The women became suspicious. They realized that this man was not qualified to provide cosmetic procedures, and they reported it to police.
The 29-year-old introduced himself to the victims at a downtown Toronto dog park. The injections were given at his home. It's not clear what the substances were, but none of the victims were hospitalized. He's been charged with 7 counts of assault with a weapon, as well as a common nuisance charge. Multiple investigations are underway in Alberta tonight after an amateur fighter died following a mixed martial arts match. As Sam Sampson tells us, there are questions about the organizer and whether the amateur participants were ready for the fight.
This would be Trokon Dosha's last fight. After winning this amateur mixed martial arts event near Edmonton, the 33-year-old was carried out of the octagon. He died shortly after in hospital, leaving behind a pregnant wife and 2 children.
You play hockey, you play soccer, you play football, you don't play fighting.
Canadian MMA champ and coach Ryan Ford declined an offer to coach the novice fighters, saying it was all wrong from the start. The organization behind the event offered amateurs the chance to compete for a charity of their choice, as long as they trained for 8 weeks first.
You know, if it was train these guys for 6 months, they're here, you know, Monday to Friday, hey, that's something that you can look at, but 6 weeks or 8 weeks, 2 times a week, sorry, that's not cutting it.
The organizer, Ultra MMA, is an extension of UK-based company Ultra Events Limited.
The 8 weeks of training is like a screening process.
Since 2017, 3 other fighters died after their amateur boxing events in the UK. After a coroner's inquest into one of those deaths, Ultra Events noted in court documents improved safety standards, like ensuring fighters are more evenly matched and requiring medical staff to supply them with a safety plan before the event starts. The company would not answer our questions about this event's safety protocols. Just weeks before Dosha's death, Alberta's government received safety recommendations related to another death. In 2017, Tim Haig died of a brain hemorrhage from a boxing match. It called for Alberta to switch from municipal oversight to a province-wide regulator for combat sports like other provinces.
We would be closer to our ultimate goal is to have one national standard with everybody having the same medical form.
RCMP and the province are investigating what happened to Dosha with no word yet on cause of death, leaving the combat sports community waiting for answers. Sam Sampson, CBC News, Edmonton.
HIV cases are decreasing around the world, but in Canada, infections are on the rise.
Now we have treatment, but it's more difficult to do education and prevention.
Why wealthier nations are seeing a spike. Plus, has movie theater etiquette hit a new low?
Hey, ladies, remember, this is not a sing-along.
Why some say the change in culture is hurting the industry. We're back in 2.
No doubt that Trevor represents that one. Oh my, that'll be Al Shire, who's flagged for the big hit on the slide.
And that sparked a massive brawl in the NFL game between the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars players took exception to the illegal hit on their quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. He was later forced out of the game with a concussion. 2 players, including the one who made the tackle, were ejected. Today is World AIDS Day, a time to raise awareness and help end the stigma. The good news is globally HIV rates are dropping, but in Canada, cases are going up. Jennifer Yoon looks at why.
A hopeful snapshot showing substantial progress in fighting HIV/AIDS. In the Central African Republic, with teams going into small communities and making antiviral treatments more widely available. Between 2010 and 2021, Globally, new HIV infections decreased by almost 22%, and HIV-related deaths decreased by almost 40%.
The biggest takeaway is that progress is possible, but it will require sustained focus.
But in Canada, HIV cases are going up. According to the latest numbers from the Public Health Agency of Canada, between 2022 and 2023, there was a 35% increase in new diagnoses. And while the disease is no longer a death sentence, Canadians are still dying of it. 1,597 deaths were attributed to HIV between 2013 and 2022.
The problem is that we forgot.
This doctor, who's been fighting AIDS since the 1980s, fears the same old stigma remains.
The 80s was a new disease, killing people, no treatment. Now we have treatment, it's a chronic disease, but it's more difficult to do education and prevention.
Prevention through self-testing or taking a daily pill, also known as PrEP, which virtually eliminates the risk of contracting HIV. In Saskatchewan, which leads the country in new HIV diagnoses, community workers say education and outreach are key.
We stress the importance of practicing safe sex, using protection, and when you use substances, never share your needles.
Also important, experts say, focusing on those who already have a hard time accessing care, like those experiencing homelessness or poverty.
If you don't have a place to live, why would you worry about being tested for HIV?
She says culturally sensitive solutions by and for those who are disproportionately affected, like Indigenous people, are key to stopping the spread of HIV. Jennifer Yoon, CBC News, Toronto.
Armed looters have been hijacking aid going into Gaza, causing some agencies to pause operations. The new threat to law and order as Hamas's grip on power fades. Plus, Matty Matheson opens up about his success and his struggles.
Everyone's coming from something. And it's just like, yo, we gotta, like, as a society, we gotta be there for each other.
And a frustrating plot twist to Nights at the Movies.
Why can't we just have one moment where we're not on our phones?
Why phones at the theater may be here to stay. The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next. Hundreds of children were out on the streets of Chile's capital for Santiago's annual Disney parade. Giant balloons of Hollywood-inspired characters from Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars hovered above as the city kicked off the Christmas season. Movie musical Wicked is box office success, but frustration is brewing inside the theaters. From sing-alongs to chatting, some moviegoers say the shared experience is being ruined. Eli Glasner shows us the debate over manners at the movies.
20 years in the making, the anticipation for the Wicked big screen musical led to tension in some theaters.
Hey, ladies, remember, this is not a sing-along.
This is just a reminder that we are not singing.
Some girls decided they wanted to talk right in the middle of Defying Gravity.
In the States, some chains even posted warnings. But songs are just part of the problem.
I really want to enjoy it and savor it. And I have found that people...
This writer says movie theater behavior is bottoming out.
They're texting the entire time. They are talking and texting. They are showing each other funny memes on their phone with their screen lit up to the fullest.
During the film?
During the film.
Not in the previews.
No.
Why can't we just have one moment where we're not on our phones? Like, please, for the love of God.
When filmmaker Chandler Levac needs to take a break from editing, cinema is her refuge. But it's changed.
It's starting to feel like theaters are kind of becoming more like living rooms.
At Canada's largest movie chain, they're offering Wicked sing-along screenings. But when it comes to phones, they won't stop fans from sharing their joy.
As long as they are not sharing plot points or recording the movie overall, it's not piracy. It is letting people know that I have seen this, I like this.
That's cool.
That worries filmmakers who see one of their few sources of revenue under attack.
When you're like recording the screen and leaking things online and doing spoiler alerts and posting them to Twitter, like you're actually hurting the film's chance of being able to have a real chance at succeeding theatrically.
But don't expect ushers to be enforcing better behavior.
We do our best to make sure that every person who goes to see an experience has the experience they want to have. You also don't want a policeman off by the door side who thinks something is going on and comes over and silences you because they think you're being interrupted.
In the meantime, the movie chain is bringing back pre-show reminders, hoping audiences can relearn the art of enjoying movies together, quietly. Eli Glaster, CBC News, Toronto.
Now let's take a closer look at the news shaping our world. Matty Matheson's high-energy cooking videos put him on the road to stardom.
Hello, everybody!
How scripted are they?
0.
He has his fingers in lots of pies, including the hit show The Bear.
And he was like, can you act? I'm like, I don't know.
And it all started in the Maritimes.
Going clam digging with my grandfather in PEI.
I sat down with Matty Matheson at his Michelin-rated restaurant in Toronto to find out how those humble beginnings in the Maritimes led to him becoming one of the world's most recognizable celebrity chefs. I'm going to start with a trivia question. There's at least one thing, and probably at most one thing, that you and I have in common.
Right.
Do you have any idea what it is?
Good hair?
Well, that.
Yeah.
We're both from New Brunswick.
Oh.
Yeah. So I grew up in Sackville. You probably drove by many times.
I've been to Sackville many times.
Yeah,
Sappy Fest.
Yeah.
Shout out to
exactly.
Sappy Fest.
Absolutely. And so, and you are a proud son of the Maritimes,
Yeah,
but certainly
absolutely.
of New Brunswick. So let me ask you a New Brunswick food question.
Okay.
You know, I think about, like, you know, Quebec and poutine, right?
Yeah.
And Halifax and Donaires.
Yeah.
Does New Brunswick have like a comfort food / snack food that would be the signature dish?
I don't know. I honestly, for me, I'd say Roppy pie.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that.
Like Roppy pie is like, when I think of my grandparents
Yep.
living in Fredericton, I think that's definitely something.
We're about to make something beautiful, something that means a lot to me. This is a very traditional Acadian dish called Roppy pie.
This is super New Brunswick, eh?
Yeah.
This is like New Brunswick.
There's so much that I could ask you about. Let me ask you about the videos that you do now. Like, you look at the number of views, multiple million views for a lot of them, and a style. I don't know, where did that video style come from?
I think I've been making the same video for 10 years. So it's just like, I think it's just a format of like, I'm just making stand-in stirs, you know? Like I'm like, I love like, you know, Walk with Yan and like these, like those are like perfect shows. Like Walk with Yan is an incredible thing.
Yeah.
They stand there and they cook stand-in stirs, you know?
How scripted are they?
0. Hello, everybody. What's up? I'm Matty Matheson.
A little dab, a little kiss. Little one for me.
Then we're gonna add some butter, unsalted butter. I don't know if you guys noticed, I'm not wearing a shirt because I literally can't find the shirt. It's like, what's the point of having one of these things? I love gumbo, you love gumbo, we love gumbo. Have you ever made a whole pot of gumbo and ate the whole thing in one sitting, by yourself, alone, sad, looking into the bowl of gumbo? By the time you get down to the bottom, it's cold, just like life. I feel like that's the right amount. These are Bazooka Town.
So that's the appetizer for our interview. Now we're ready for the main course here. What else are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. What we got? Restaurants. You know, there's a lot of restaurants right now, which is amazing. There's like Six Makers and Maddie's Patties and Cafe Rang, Rizzo's House of Parm, Prime Seafood Palace, and Maker. And we're about to open up another restaurant on Dundas. And then there's like book stuff, video stuff, TV stuff, clothing stuff, merch stuff. There's a lot of different things. And then me, myself, as a, you know, a thing that, you know, we can make into things.
Yeah. So the guy that envisions a restaurant like this.
Yeah.
The guy who loves food, the guy who does these videos that are off the cuff and just unlike anything else that I've seen anyway, is also the guy who's involved in one of the most acclaimed TV shows, if we still call them TV shows, right now, The Bear. How did that happen?
Chris Storer, he's my friend. He's the creator, director, one of the writers, and we always talked about maybe doing something together. And then like he hit me up one day and was just like, "Hey, I think we got something here, and we want you to consult. And do you want to act in it?" And I was like, and he was like, "Can you act?" I'm like, "I don't know." I was just like, "We'll see. I'm down."
So let me ask you two things about that role. First of all, notably, you don't play a chef in the show, you play a handyman.
Yes.
That's part of the...
That's acting, that's acting. If I was a chef, it'd be something else. And I didn't want to, I just want to be, I'm not good at fixing stuff, being a handyman is I feel like Thack isn't a good handyman to begin with actually anyways, so it kind of worked out perfect.
I've never acted before. How tough is it to act? And you're surrounded by professional actors.
It's very stressful, it's very stressful. You got to be prepared, there's no winging it. My whole life is we find it in the edit. I talk in these cooking videos the entire time. So if I'm making something that's 2 hours, I will gab and talk and make fun of stuff and whatever for 2 hours straight. And then we find the jokes in the edit. But here it's just action. No, you deliver the line. That person next to you is doing the lines. There's no oh yeah, what are we gonna do? It's just it's so intense actually. Yeah, for me, because I'm I can't remember anything. I can remember so much. I'm so creative. I'm so, I'm so, my brain, it's it's 57 cats up there just running around. And then when I get excited, I don't see anything, and then I don't remember anything, and then I'm doing a scene with Jeremy, and he's throwing boxes out of a dumpster at me, and I'm like, what are we talking about here?
The Emmy goes to the Bear!
Speaking of the Emmys, you gave an acceptance speech on behalf of the show.
Yeah.
Which was astounding.
Yeah.
I just love restaurants so much. The good, the bad, it's rough. We're all broken inside, and every single day we gotta show up and cook and make people feel good by eating something and sitting at a table, and it's really beautiful. And all of us here get to make a show together, and we get to make people feel good or filled with anxiety or triggered, seems. But this is really amazing. It's beautiful.
There was a line in there where you talked about how we're all broken inside.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
Well, we're all broken. I'm sure you had good news and bad news this week about people you love. How do you put yourself back together every day? How do you maintain this persona? How do you work? How do you show up for yourself? How do you show up for others around you? How do you stay strong? How do you, it's so intense. And restaurants are it's like a play. Every day we open for service. Every day a group of individuals have to get everything ready and then cook to the best of their abilities, no matter what's going on. That's everybody. Everyone has, if you're working at a factory or a CFO or you're doing whatever you're doing, every single person here with the cameras and lights, everyone's coming from something. And it's just we gotta as a society, we gotta be there for each other. We gotta good or bad, we gotta be there. We gotta be positive. We gotta really try to make everyone kind of come up together,
You talk so much about how much you love restaurants. So obviously your guy loves cooking, but you love restaurants as well. But it made me think about in my business, I love journalism,
right?
But I also love broadcasting, and they're intertwined, but they're different,
Yeah.
And so what is it that, and you touched on it a little bit, but what is it about restaurants that you want we customers to understand?
That we're doing this for you, I love restaurants. they're the best, you know. And I think it's like I grew up in a house where we were like an open door policy, and we had I have 3 siblings. We always had lots of friends over, even though we didn't have a ton of money. There was always food for everybody. There was always it was a very open, welcoming home. And so at a very young age, I think hospitality is in me. I want to help people. I want to take care of people. I want people to feel beloved, you know? And restaurants is a way that I can do that. And it's just like walking into one of our restaurants is like, I want people to just feel the love. I want people to be able to escape what's out there and like have a moment in time with us and allow us to put a little bit of joy into your life from what we love doing. We love serving people. We love cooking for people. We love taking care of people.
Let me finish this by asking you about some of the other things that you clearly love. And let's start with food. And for me, it feels like as I read the things you write, that food and meals are attached to people in your life and moments in your life. So tell me about that.
It's given me everything. Food has given me everything. You know, my love of my fondest memories are, you know, my grandmother's roasted pork with mashed potatoes and gravy and like rapi pie, and going clam digging with my grandfather in PEI, and like doing lobster boils in his driveway and eating at the Blue Goose in PEI. Like all of my memories, as cliche as they are around food. And going to cooking school gave my love, I love that. I was going to school and I liked going.
Because you didn't like going to school before? You were not a star high school student?
No, I had to negotiate with my principal to pretty much graduate. I was just like, get me out of here. You don't want me here, I don't want to be here, get me out of here.
And yet you came to college here in Toronto.
Yeah, I went to Humber, Rexdale for life.
And discovered in learning about cooking that you were really good at it.
I loved it. It was just like a natural ability. I don't know if I was good at it, but I was able to do it. It was relatively easy, you know, sharpening knives, making stock, listening to a chef, do what the chef says. Okay, you know, it was amazing. And yeah, I don't know. And then it was just working at Le Select, working at La Palette, working at these restaurants. I loved French food. I loved working in a space with people, so many different types of people, you know. It was so amazing. And I loved, I don't know. It's like my truest love is just restaurants. It is if everything went away and I just had restaurants, it'd be amazing. There's nothing, I don't think that there's anything better, but it is food has given me every opportunity, my life, my family. I'm able to provide for my family from food, making videos and doing all the things that I do. And all the doors that it's opened.
Well, you are a one-of-a-kind guy, and things are going really well for you, and it's great to see, and it's really nice to meet you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That combination of talent and passion and originality, it has propelled a few people to those heights, and that path we talked about from the Maritimes to Hollywood has been absolutely incredible to watch. The United Nations is pausing aid deliveries into Gaza because of safety concerns.
People have been shot and killed by unknown armed men while trying to buy simple sustenance.
What's behind the rise in looting and how civilians are being caught in the middle? Israel's war with Hamas in Gaza emboldens armed looters to steal incoming aid.
The breakdown of public order and safety.
That means more hunger, more desperation. Amid the chaos, lucrative contraband gets snuck in with vital supplies. The United Nations says it's halted the flow of aid through Gaza's main crossing because of the threat of armed gangs. Chris Brown shows us the scale of the problem and how local leaders are trying to step in and restore order.
More than 14 months into the war, Gaza may be slipping into lawlessness. And with Hamas's grip on control fading, the struggle for food is constant and has now become deadly. Aid groups, the head of local families, and business owners all say that breakdown is imperiling the survival of up to 2 million people. Much of the food crisis stems from the challenge of delivering humanitarian aid to a place where basic services have been totally destroyed. We go to the crossing with Israel and we load up, and armed men attack us. Truck driver Basil Shahaber told a videographer working for CBC News, "If you don't do as you're told, you die." Increasingly, humanitarian deliveries are being hijacked, say aid groups, as criminal gangs fill the power vacuum. Israel has faced widespread criticism, including from the U.S. government, for denying people in Gaza food. But its lead agency, COGAT, says the problems with terrible logistics and looting inside the territory are not its fault. This trucking company owner disagrees. He says Israel could open more, safer crossings and let him bring in new trucks to replace the 100 he's lost, but it won't. The problem is with the occupation, the Israelis, says Nahid Shahaber. They're supporting the looters, and they're protecting them too. Before the war, Hamas was the enforcer here, but Israeli attacks have decimated the organization. Out of 44,000 people health authorities say have been killed, Israel claims 18,000 were Hamas militants. This former journalist and political analyst says Hamas personnel, including police, are now rarely seen in public. Today, we're talking about the presence of Hamas in very limited areas, says Wissam Afifa, maybe 30 to 40% of the Gaza Strip. The breakdown of law and order has fueled an increase in tobacco smuggling. A single cigarette can sell on the street for $50 Canadian, so hiding tobacco in aid shipments is lucrative for the gangs and also for a depleted Hamas, which takes a cut of the money. This street seller says the smugglers bring the cigarettes in imported products, in noodle packets, in bags of chips, in cleaning products, in bags of flour. The rich traders, with the help of Hamas, they store the cigarettes and then sell them to us. In the absence of police or Hamas strongmen, some of Gaza's influential clans and families say they're trying to maintain law and order themselves, including protecting the aid shipments. Taha al-Astal is a Bedouin leader. We in Gaza have houses of families, he told our videographer. We have rules and regulations. We know what's right and wrong. That will guide us through this chaos. It's unclear, though, how much difference that effort is making. The food situation in Gaza remains perilous. The absence of order is now at times as much of a threat to Palestinian civilians as Israel's bombs.
And Israel says it will continue to work with the international community to get more supplies into Gaza through various crossings. However, so far it hasn't met recent targets that were set by the U.S. Stay with us. We'll be back with The Moment in just a moment. Pro sports teams often say they couldn't do what they do without the fans. That is absolutely true in Buffalo whenever a major snowfall blankets the Bills' open-air Highmark Stadium. As Buffalo hosted the San Francisco 49ers, it was fans who helped make the field and the stands game ready. Their labor of love is our moment. For years now, pitching in with some elbow grease has come naturally in a city so proud of its blue-collar roots. But a stormy blast this weekend made the challenge even bigger than usual.
Just a few hours' time, the Bills Mafia will descend here on Highmark Stadium to clear out some of this snow ahead of that big game.
Fans who sign up do get paid $20 an hour, plus food and hot drinks, but it's clear that a lot of them are doing it for the love of the team and also to mix with other die-hard Bills supporters. You know, they talk about fanatic as being you know, where the word fan comes from, and you certainly see that in Buffalo. Imagine agreeing to shovel all that snow for all that time just to help out your team. Thank you for being with us. You can watch us anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to the Nationals YouTube channel. I'm Ian Hannah-Mansing in Vancouver. Take care.